Boxing truth here. All right. Part two of the Mikey Garcia story. I got cut off, got a phone call in the middle of my story, and I didn't feel like doing it again, so I just uploaded the first part. And now here's the second part. I'm going to finish off the story. I left off with Mikey Garcia's prospective opponents. Now that he's pretty much involved on the Showtime side. It's a little disappointing that Mikey is already throwing roadblocks for the fights that we want to see him be involved in, with his preference of his network, and that is Showtime. Him saying that they should come and fight over on Showtime and we can make it happen. So Mikey is just like every other fighter out there. It's interesting what's going on with him and Haymon. No one really knows for sure if there's a long-term deal in place with Haymon, but he's just pretty much a product of the PBC now. And it is interesting what Robert Garcia said about the promotion leading up to the fight. Before the Broner fight, they felt like they were the B side, they weren't being treated right. And those two judges, they turned in some trash scorecards. 116, 112 was just downright too damn generous for Adrian Broner. It's interesting. It's very possible, had Mikey not dominated the fight, had Broner actually been a little bit competitive, Mikey Garcia most likely would have been robbed of a victory. So Haymon, from the outside looking in, preferred Broner. He wanted Broner to win, it looks like, from the outside looking in, and going by Robert Garcia's statements and how they felt they were treated in the lead up to the promotion. It's very possible. I mean, Haymon hasn't really treated Mexican fighters, well, Mikey's an American, but he's a Mexican-American. So in the past, he hasn't treated Mexican fighters all that good. I mean, look what he did with Santa Cruz and Abner Mars for quite a while, putting him in meaningless fights. They lost momentum and they were becoming irrelevant. Now finally, they finally got some momentum riding with them, finally in some significant fights, but it took quite some time. So Haymon hasn't exactly been giving the same type of treatment when it comes to fighters of other ethnicities that don't match his skin color. He shows more favoritism towards the brother. You know, that's natural. It is what it is. But Mikey has to be careful if he's not really signed to Al Haymon. He could end up being not getting the fair treatment or a level playing field for the next big name Haymon fighter he fights. So maybe he should consider whatever's going on with him in his business dealings. It's interesting, and no one knows really what the fuck's going on. I mean, people believe he's with Haymon, but they keep saying they're free agents. So by their actions, doesn't seem like it. But here are the prospective opponents for Mikey Garcia. And Mikey Garcia being back it's created some excitement. I mean, I'm glad that he's in this position. I was upset, I was angry at him for his decision to leave Top Rank because of the fights that they had planned for him. He could have been in an even better position, maybe even be a much bigger star than he is now. But he can fight Robert Easter at lightweight. That's the most likely fight if he was to return to the lightweight division. At 40 pounds, is not really anybody. He already beat the biggest name on Haymon's side there, and Broner dominated him. No need for a rematch. No one really wants to see him fight Rances Barthélemy. It's not really a fight that does anything for him. I would love to see him move up to welterweight. I would like to see what will happen in the Keith Thurman fight. That'd be a very intriguing fight. That would be a challenge for Mikey Garcia. Not sure he could win that fight. Danny Garcia is another good fight. I know Mikey beats up Danny Garcia. I think he would win that fight, but it's still a fight that should happen. You still have to fight the fights, and it's a fight a lot of people would tune in to watch. So there are opponents for Mikey. It's just that boxing fans want to see him fight Terence Crawford. They want to see him fight Lomachenko. Those are the fights we really want to see. Those are the fights that are considered 50-50. I mean, a lot of people would count Mikey out against Thurman or other welterweights. I'm not sure. There's certain welterweights he could fight. Thurman's one of them. Danny Garcia is another. Him fighting Errol Spence or a big-ass welterweight or Jeff Horn, that's maybe a little too much. But there are certain smaller welterweights he could fight. Mikey does have the skill. He still has good power. And him not knocking out Broner is not really a knock on his power. I mean, Broner's never been stopped. He's only been knocked down only a couple of times in his career. He's a durable guy, so I'm not going to give Mikey shit for not stopping Broner. He's a tough, strong, durable guy. I'm not going to hate on him like Abel Sanchez. I don't know what the fuck Sanchez is smoking. He thinks Robert Easter would beat Mikey? Fuck out of here. I'd take Mikey all day in that fight. I wouldn't mind that fight next. It's not a bad fight. I'd take it. I'd take that over any other meaningless fight Haymon may have planned for Mikey. He might put him in a stay busy fight later. Or maybe Robert Easter Jr. could be next. Or maybe Danny Garcia is next. But if Mikey's going to fuck with Haymon, hopefully they won't put him in some bullshit meaningless fights. He could just get the fights that he wants, that he's gunning for on that side. And he's available at a number of weights, which is what makes Mikey Garcia's career so interesting. I just wish that someday him and Top Rank can do business together for at least one of those fights. I think he could beat Terence Crawford. It's a bad style, but I still think Mikey's good enough to possibly whoop Crawford. Could he beat Lomachenko at 35? I would make Loma a slight favorite in that fight. Loma would find a way to win, but it's a fight that should happen. It's one of the fights out there hardcore fans are really clamoring for. So, looking forward to Mikey Garcia's next fight. It's gonna be a while depending on who he fights that I pick against him. I picked against him against Slack teaching him because it was an emotional pick. I was angry at Mikey Garcia. I know deep down the boxing guys wanted him to win, but I wanted to defy them on that occasion because I wanted to see Mikey Garcia lose so bad and for him to regret his decision of leaving Top Rank by taking an L for not even main event money against Slack teaching. That would have been something to see, but I got burned in that pick. It was an emotional pick. I try not to make emotional picks, but that pick I couldn't resist. And I got burned. And it's gonna be a while, depending on who he fights, that I pick against Mikey Garcia again. But that's the second part of my story. I just wanted to finish it off. It was cut short. I had to stop it, and I didn't feel like doing it all over again. So this is the end of the Mikey Garcia story with Top Rank. Maybe sometime down the line they could figure out a way to work with each other to make a really significant fight in the boxing world. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.